What's up, you guys? SlimXTeamSymmetry here to bring you guys a new video today, and I'm here to bring you guys a really anticipated video for me. It's my January 2014 Dragunity deck profile for this format. Now, I know the first thing people are going to say is, Slim, just stop. The deck's dead. The deck's never going to come back to what it was. And I gotta partially agree, you guys. The fact that we lost Ravine really hurt. The Dragon Rulers were whatever. I had planned to run the deck with or without the Dragon Rulers, depending on how the format would shape up. And, of course, the list hit them all to 1, so it made them all pretty irrelevant. The only one that I really liked was Tempest and Blaster. And Tempest was, like, the main part of this deck. Had they left the Dragon Rulers alone, like, Dragon Rulers would still be a crazy deck. So hitting them all to 1 was a good thing. Hitting Ravine really hurt this deck a lot, though, so you guys are really going to have to understand like why I'm playing this deck the way I am. I want to give a huge shout out to my good friend Chris Welch, aka my boy Welchy. He top 8'd YCS San Mateo with Dragunity Rulers, and he was running the Wombo combo build where you end up with a crazy field of like M7, Stardust, Queen Dragon Jin, and Red Eyes Darkness Metal, like on turn 1 or depending on whenever you get the Wombo combo off. And I'm going to show you guys that combo really quick for those of you that don't know how it's done. He taught me how to do it, and you can watch the previous profile with him and you'll see how it's done really quick. But a lot of people are probably going to bash this deck profile saying that I should just stop trying to make this deck work, but this is actually one of my favorite decks in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've always liked Dragunities. I played it when Fraser Smith taught with it, and I just really like it. So for me, it's more of a fun deck to play. It is still pretty functional. You'll have to understand how a lot of these cards work, but a lot of it is pretty standard, and then you guys will see like what I've replaced Ravine and Swords and other cards with, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So it's not Dragon Rulers, so you don't have to worry, but it is trying to play Dragunity to the best way that, possible for this format, so I hope you guys enjoy it. So I'm going to get to the monsters. First thing is Triple Ducks. That's pretty standard. Ducks is like your main guy. You need Ducks Phalanx to get your plays off. Ducks is amazing. My biggest complaint with this deck, there is no way in this world to search this card. Without Ravine, you're basically relying on your draw engine and your cards to get to Ducks. If you don't have Ducks, it's really hard to get plays going, but that's why we run Garuda the Wind Spirit, and I'll explain that when I get to that card. But Ducks is like one of the key cards in the deck. Equally important, maybe even more important, is the Triple Phalanx. We go to a full set now instead of 2 because it's not as searchable as it was once before. We are running triple cards of Consonance, so this card is still really good. We do run 5 tuners. In addition to these 3, I run 2 Flammable Guards, so this card is just really good. You need it. It's also really good with Armor Mistletoe, being able to just summon this and then tributing it to get Armor Mistletoe off. Another really good play people don't know about is you can banish a wind, summon Garuda the Wind Spirit, then summon this and synchro into Vajrayana, so that works out really well. So that's pretty standard. Something probably not so standard, I am running a full set of Dragunity Armor Mistletoe. This card is one of my favorite cards in the deck because this card is your level 8s basically. Like there's so many ways to get this card going. Like you can have a really crappy hand and have these 2 cards, and you can just summon Phalanx, tribute to special Armor Mistletoe, and then bring back up the Phalanx and then make an 8 right there, which I really like. Other plays, like I said with Garuda, make it so that you can get plays going. The Wombo combo involves banishing Tempest and searching Armor Mistletoe off of using Garuda, so it's really good. I just like this card a lot, and it's 2100 beater, and it's really important for the level 6 plays, for the rank 6 plays that we play in the deck. So that's a full set of 9 Dragunities right there. That's it for the Dragunity engine. For the rest of the engine, I know this is where everyone's going to bat their eyes and they're not going to believe it, but this is 100% true, you guys, and I will explain why. I'm running a full set of Garuda the Wind Spirit, 3 copies. Reason being is that this card is absolutely insane. This card does so much for the deck. This is like your main Wombo combo piece. You banish to summon this, and then you end up using Garuda twice in the Wombo combo to get the four crazy monster field. But what I really like about this card, like I was explaining earlier in the video, was that sometimes you don't open that well. Like I've opened hands like this with some winds in the grave, and you know, where's my Ducks? I don't have my Ducks. I can't do anything. So instead, what I'll do is I'll banish, say, a wind monster or whatever. I run basically all winds, and I'll summon Garuda, and then I can normal summon the Phalanx, and I can synchro right there into a Vajrayana since it is a wind, so that really helps a lot for the deck. This also is what you need. You need this and Zephyros to make your in order to make your Queen Dragon Jin play, but I just like this card a lot. Plus an extra 1600 has a pretty nifty effect, and I mean it gets in there, like you can summon multiple ones of these, so I like this card a lot for just for like the synergy it has with the deck. At worst, you can use it with Tempest to search, and it's really crucial in the deck, so I really like it. You don't have to play 3 if you don't want, but I'm maxing out so that I can see it early and so that I can use it for its main effect. And I mean, so far it's been working pretty decent considering that we lost a lot of ammo in the deck. And then I'm running 2 Flamvel Guard. The reason being I am running triple Dragon Shrine, like our double Foolish Burial. This card, basically I'm only running this card for 2 reasons. A, you dump it with Dragon Shrine, you get to dump another dragon, so I like dumping this and dumping Phalanx, or dumping this and dumping Tempest to get the combos going, so this card is really good. 2000 defense isn't that bad either. Sometimes I'll be in a desperate situation, I'll have to set it. It's not half bad, and it's also Consonance food since I run 3 Consonants, and I do run Blaster, so it is a Blaster pop. That rarely happens, but sometimes it does, and it gives you something to search if you ever have to banish your Blaster. Okay, on to the one-ofs. Red Eyes Darkness Metal, you need it for the Wombo combo. This card is, I have such a love-hate relationship with this card because I love it when I have it for the Wombo combo. I hate it for the other times. A lot of times I just don't want to see this card because it means I can't Wombo combo my opponent. So what I end up having to do is use it like Red MD is supposed to be used. And as good as that sounds, in some instances is not as good. Like you want to bring it out through a tomb and then bounce it back with Zephyros to get your play going. But I mean, other than that, I mean, it's a big beater. It brings back dragons. It's really good. It's good with Armor Missile Tang because a lot of times you can just bring this back, and 21 and 28 is a lot of damage. Plus you just bring back like Blast or anything like that. So it's really good. So the card has to be in there. It can be a liability, but there are ways to use it to your advantage. And then I run just 1 Blaster and the 1 Tempest, the only E-Dragons I run. I don't run Redux, I don't run Tidal. They have no synergy with this deck at all. There's no targets. I'm not running Mythics. I don't like the Mythics in this deck at all. I think these are the only 2 I need. I run this because it's a win-based deck, and it's one of the best cards in the deck, and I run this because it's a 2800 beater. And I mean, sometimes you just need that. Sometimes having that and Red MD plus another monster is game, so still really good. And then the last monster is 1 Black Rose Zephyros the Elite. This card is so nuts, like literally, like it does so many cool plays. You can do like dumb plays where you can literally just like bounce back Armor Missile Tang and do it again with Phalanx up and just, you know, get another additional monster. It's stupid, like the things you can do with it. And it's just really good for the combo. You need it. It's just a really great card. A lot of times, like I run Foolish Burial, and sometimes I'll find myself foolishing this if I don't have a way to the Wombo combo through Tempest and through Gay Durg, so I have to use that. Also, that's it for the monsters, 18 monsters. Now that's it. Now on to the spells. A triple Dragon Shrine card is insane. Card is so good for this deck. I hate that you can only activate 1 per turn, but I can understand why. This card is just so ridiculous. You go Dragon Shrine, dump a guard, put a Phalanx Engrave. Just Dragon Shining away a Tempest is really good. And just, you know, sometimes you'll draw the Flammable Guard, so you won't be able to double Foolish, but just having Dragon Shrine to dump a dragon or dump a Phalanx is just really, really good. Plus, dumping the dragons isn't that bad. I never want to dump Red MD, but I mean, most of these other dragons I can just dump, so I do have a couple targets. I just love this card, and I run a full set because I want to see it early just to get Phalanx in the grave, because that's the hardest thing now, is getting Phalanx to grave, and the hardest thing in the deck is searching ducks, but this just helps a lot. For what you need. Staple, 3 MST. Back row is a real problem. Sphere is a real problem. Tenki is a real problem. There's 3 of them in those decks, so you just got to get rid of them. So this card is just really good. Plus it helps, like if you can clear boards, and then just like Wombo combo them for game. On to the draw engine. 3 cards consonants. We have 5 targets. You need this card. Standard. And 3 Upstart Hobins, Patrick's favorite card, because 37 card deck, this deck lost so much speed that you literally just have to do whatever you can. I'm not running Sword, I have 2 targets, it's awful, so I'm just running the 3 Upstarts and 3 cards of Consonants. And then the one-ofs, 1 Gold Sark. If you can Sark Tempest, it's really good to get Armor Missile Tang. The 1 Book. Book is like one of the best cards, and this card is just a power card this format, so it's every format is power card, so I have to run it. And then the 1 already mentioned Foolish Burial to get Phalanx, and just honestly, I like foolishing cards that I can't dump with Dragon Shrine, so cards like Zephyros, cards like, you know, even being able to Foolish Burial Tempest early is still really good, so I do like this card a lot for its synergy, and sometimes dumping a win for Garuda is really good. So that's for the spells. On to the traps. The trap lineup may change, but for now, this is what I have. I'm running a full set of Fiendish Chains. I don't main deck Effect Veiler or Max C, but I feel Fiendish Chain is really needed because of the Fire Fist matchup. It's not half bad against water. Mostly it's for the Fire Fist matchup and for other matches, like Madolches and other decks that are just like effect based. Like this card is just really, really good. Plus you can bounce it with Zephyros sometimes, so that can be really, really good for the deck. But I can see myself actually cutting one for a Compulse because I'm not running Compulse, which is something I'm not too happy with, but I can see myself changing it. For the rest of the traps, just 2 Mirror Force. It's such a good card. Just punishes bad players who overextend into it, and it's really easy to throw them off because a lot of people usually run 1 or none, and I just like running this. I like it over D-Prison. I like getting rid of problem cards. People would say it's bad against Stardust, but, you know, other than that, it's still really good. And then the last traps are 1 Bottomless and 1 Warning. So that's it for the deck. It's 40 cards. That's honestly like the best build I could come up with for right now. My friend Chris Welch and I worked on this for quite some time. So I mean, this is the best build. This is like prototype build number 1, so I hope it's okay. It's not what I'd call the best build, but it still works. You can still get your plays out. You guys can still see the synergy, and you guys will see why Garuda the Wind Spirit is one of the best cards ever. Just on to the extra deck real quick before I do the combo. 3 Vajrana, standard. You need to run them. It's been reprinted. Everyone can get them. Hardest card for me to get ever was 1 Gaydir. God damn, this stupid thing was so hard to get. It's so worth it though, because you go into Gaydir first for the combo, and then you dump the Tempest, or you dump the Tempest, banish the Tempest for the Garuda, and get your combos going, and then you bring this back with Red MD to keep going with the combos. I really like it. For the level 8s, 1 Spark Dragon, broken. 1 Stardust, equally as broken. I'll usually end with Stardust if I open Wombo combo. It's just in case I get Dark Hole, because you Dark Hole, you can only protect 1 monster. I'd rather protect my whole field. 1 Scrap Dragon, standard. 1 Colossal Fighter. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this in, but it's still really good against decks that, you know, you can just crash with stuff, and it's not half bad. I can see myself possibly cutting it for Thought Ruler, though. And then 1 Crimson Blader. Blader's still really effective against Water. If Water becomes like the #1 deck, I'm going to play like 2 of these over the Colossal Fighter. Just because I feel they're needed. That's it for the synchros, for the ranks. 1 Dragosack, 1 Big Eye. These cards, I never see these cards, honestly. Like, it's very rare I'll have Tempest and Blaster on the field. I do leave the possibility open to possibly use them. They're good cards, but I honestly just never make them. Like, testing with this deck, I just never make them. But, I mean, if the situation ever does come up, they are there. So, that's one thing I have to keep in mind, is that they are there. And, I mean, they're good cards, but 1 of each is all you'll ever need. Like, you got, honestly, like... I honestly think I make Big Eye more than I make Dragosack, to be honest. Like, usually I'll make Big Eye just to steal stuff for game, so... they're in there, though, just because they're really good cards. But if they just don't work out, like, I could possibly replace them with other stuff. The absolute necessary Wombo combo pieces, M7, one of the best cards in the deck. Gets back Garuda from Grave, gets back Armor Mistletoe from Grave, which is huge. It just does so much for the deck. Like, you have to run this card. This card's also really good against your opponent. Bounce your monster back, attack with everything for game, so standard. The 1 Atum, so stupid. Like, Atum, Red Eyes, Zephyros back Red Eyes, banish this, bring out Red Eyes. Red Eyes has its effect again. It's so good. And also the 1 Gaia Charger, because sometimes if the combo doesn't go right or something goes wrong, gets Veiler, I can just overlay and, you know, do some piercing, do some 2600 beater damage, so it's still really good. And then just the 1 Queen Dragon Djinn, because it goes with the Wombo combo, so now I'm just going to do the Wombo combo for you guys. Alright, you guys, now just the Wombo combo like I showed you guys. For those of you who wanted to know, once again, big shout out to my friend Chris Welch, aka my boy Welchie, for showing me this combo in the video in San Mateo. One of the most insane turn 1 plays you can get. It involves you do need a Dux, you do need a Phalanx and Grave. We really do try to do that in the deck, get Phalanx to Grave as soon as possible. The hardest thing is searching Dux, but I mean, outside of that, like, if you get it, it's really good. Other situations, Tempest may be in Grave, you might have another Wind in hand, but you ideally kind of want to have Tempest in hand, so if you Sarked for it or something like that, or you ended up drawing it, like, that could be the ideal situation. So I'll just show you what happens when you do have that. So basically, you do the basic combo, bring up Dux, Phalanx, and then you just synchro these 2. You don't synchro immediately into Vajrana, you actually sync into Gaydir, and Gaydir's effect lets you search for Garuda, the Wind Spirit, which is like your key card, and then you have Garuda and Tempest in hand. You want to discard the Tempest. For its effect, you have to discard a dragon or a wing type monster or something like that. And then what you do from there is you banish the Tempest from Grave, special summoning the Garuda. So this is what your field looks like right now. And Tempest is triggered since it was banished, and you search for Dragunity, Armor Mistletoe. That's why we run 3. We want to see this card like as fast as possible. And from here, to special it, you just tribute the Gaydir, summon the Armor Mistletoe, use the Armor Mistletoe's effect to bring up the Phalanx, and you put the Phalanx up on the board. So then you have a field of 3 monsters. From here, you synchro these 2 into Vajrana. This is what I was saying with Garuda the Wind Spirit, is that sometimes you don't have those ideal situations, but you can special this and then normal this and then make a Vajrana and get your level 8 off, so it's really good. Also from here, this is your field. You use Vajrana's effect to once again bring up the Phalanx. So once again, you're with 3 monsters. From here, you overlay these 2 into the Atum. And you use the Atoms effect. It doesn't matter which one you detach. You detach to the graveyard. So I detached Armor Mistletoe. And you search your deck for Red Eyes, Darkness Metal. This is why if you draw Red Eyes, it sucks. It's like erratic. You don't want to draw it. But you bring out Red Eyes. You can bring in attack and defense. It doesn't really matter. You use Red Eye's effect. Its effect isn't negated. So you bring back the Gaydir. And since the Gaydir is back, you use its effect to search Zephyros the Elite. And then you discard it for the Gaydir's effect. And then you bounce Red Eyes for Zephyros' effect. You take 400. This is your field right now. If you guys can see it, it's 1 Atum, 1 Zephyros, 1 Phalanx, and 1 Gaydir. From here, you banish the Atum, so the Atum will get banished, the level 6 Vajrana will go to the grave, and you resummon the Red Eyes Darkness Metal, so now you have 4 monsters on the board. From here, you reborn either Armor Mistletoe or Vajrana. I usually go with Armor Mistletoe, just because it's a little bit stronger. In case something was to get to stop here, like this is what you do. From here, though, you take these two. You take the Gaydirg and the Armor Mistletoe since they're level 6. And you overlay these guys, and you go into your Constellar M7. From here, you just detach one of the 6s again, and you use its effect to add back Garuda from the grave. You then banish one of your winds. Usually it's the ducks. It can be any of them, though, either one of these guys. And then you resummon the Garuda. So now you have a board of 5 monsters. As you guys can see right there, 5 monsters. From there, you're going to overlay these two since they're both level 4s. You're going to make the Queen Dragon Djinn. You're then going to detach. It doesn't matter which one you detach. And you're going to resummon the level 6, whether it be Vajrana or Armor Mistletoe. And then you're going to finally synchro for Stardust Dragon. And that will be your ending board. Presumably turn 1, if you do pull it off, it is quite harder to get it off now. But this is your turn 1 field of a 2800 Red Eyes Darkness Metal, a Queen Dragon Djinn, a Stardust Dragon, and a Constellar M7. If this goes off first turn with some back row, it's devastating because you will most likely win next turn. You can attack with all for game. You can use Red Eyes again to do other combos, bring up an Armor Mistletoe or something, and win the game right there. So it really is a crazy combo, the Wombo combo, Welchie's Wombo combo, and it really is amazing. But anyways, that's the deck, you guys. I know a lot of people aren't going to like it, but I really do like Dragunity, and I'm hoping that there is a way to keep them alive, and I hope that this deck profile did just that, and I hope you guys enjoyed the Wombo combo demonstration, and I hope that if you have any questions, you'll PM me, and definitely go check out my boy Welchie's top 8 deck profile. He'll explain just the Wombo combo a little bit more in depth for those of you who didn't understand. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please thumbs it up. It's not Dragon Rulers. I'm not trying to play it like Dragon Rulers. I run Tempest because it's good. I run Blaster because it's big. That's the honest reasons. My main goal is to play Dragunities, though, with Garuda, Zephyros, and all these really cool, crazy cards. And I'm not guaranteed. It's a very low tier deck, unfortunately, but I'm going to try and still make it work one way or another. I'm not going to give up on it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thumbs it up, and thank you for watching.